Hey guys, welcome to my channel, and today I'm recording 5070 paper 2, that is theory paper of winter 2016. I solved all of these questions in my previous videos. You can find it in the link down below. And moving on with question number 9. I did all of this in the previous video. I'll even upload the playlists, and you can find all the parts in like a single place. Alright, so moving on to section B, question number 9. Both copper and magnesium are metals. Explain why magnesium reacts with hydrochloric acid but copper does not. The question tells that basically magnesium is the one that can react with that can react with hydrochloric acid, but copper does not react. It is because magnesium loses electron more easily than copper does. Alright, so that is why it reacts with hydrochloric acid. However, copper cannot give the electrons to hydrogen. Its outer shell electrons, it cannot give it to hydrogen. So you can write it in simple words that magnesium can give its outer shell electrons, loses its outer shell electrons and gives it to hydrogen more readily. However, copper does not. Moving on to part B, brass is an alloy of copper and zinc. The table shows how the composition of brass influences its relative strength. How does the composition of brass affect its strength? Okay, so if we look at it, this is brass. Alright, this is how brass is made with copper and zinc. If you look at the relative strength with 90% copper and why do I have an eraser open? 90% copper and 10% zinc, so the relative strength is 2.6. However, if you look below it, it's 80% copper, 20% zinc, so the strength has increased. Likewise, if you look at most zinc strength and most zinc percentage and copper percentage, so as we increase zinc, the strength is also increasing. So that is why we can say that the proportion of zinc is directly proportional to the relative strength, or we can say that more zinc leads to greater strength of brass. Alright, moving on to part C. Use your knowledge of structure of metals to explain why brass is stronger than pure copper. You may include a label diagram in your drawing. Alright, so it's because if we look at structure explain why brass is stronger than pure copper again. If we look at it, if we just take a look at copper, so we have these copper particles, alright, and we have these particles, like how to make it of the same size. Why am I highlighting it? Oh god. Okay, let's do it again. Alright, I want you guys to assume that this is all of the same size. Alright, however, because it's only copper, it's pure copper. So this is Cu, all of this is Cu. This is pure copper. Please forgive me for my horrific drawing. I was not going to draw it, but then I thought drawing might explain things better. Then how I'll explain you. Alright, so if you look at it, they are layered together. Alright, if you look at this as well, this, and this is layered. However, if we take a look at brass has, this is basically Cu, this is pure copper. Alright, however, if we look at brass, it has copper. Alright, it has copper and copper. Alright, then it also has, zinc in it, right? So since it has zinc in it, so zinc is bigger in size. And then we again have copper. There's a disclaimer that I would like to give here. I'm not sure if zinc or copper is bigger in size. This is just a drawing. You can, search about it, what is bigger in size, and then draw accordingly. So this is copper. I am just trying to show that these both are of different sizes. Alright, that's what I'm trying to show. Now if we give force over here, alright, even over here I can draw like zinc over here. Alright, if we push it, alright, or if there is any force applied over here, so it will not slide easily since they are different particles, so they will not slide over each other easily. But if you put a force over here, they can easily slide over each other. Hence the strength of it is lower as compared to strength of brass. Alright, that's what I'm trying to tell over here. If you want to write this in words, you can easily write this in word and not draw if you think you can explain these things better. However, drawing is always preferred more than drawing is always preferred along with writing, because it gives a clear idea to the examiner that you have understood the concept properly. That is why it gives you an option to label the diagram, draw the diagram and all. Here we can label as well that this is zinc and this is copper. Again, a disclaimer, I'm not sure of the sizes, which one is bigger and which one is smaller. Alright, so you can check it from the Google or you can even check it through periodic table and understand it. So again, I was telling about what you can write. We can write that layers of copper can slide easily over each other since they are of the same size. However, because zinc and copper are two different size particles, and when they are together, that is in the form of brass, when they are together and they are brass, that means they cannot slide easily over each other due to different sizes of particle. Hence, proven that this is brass is stronger. Okay. Moving on to part D, draw a label diagram to show how steel rod can be electroplated with copper. Over here we can draw two rods in, we can draw a power supply over here. Alright, and then we can show two rods. This is like one beaker, this is like the other beaker. Okay, and here we can show one rod, here we can show the other rod. Alright, and then we can on one is the anode side and one is the cathode side. Alright, and you can draw it accordingly. It's just 3 marks. If you face any difficulty, let me know in the description below and then I'll explain it to you. However, keeping it short and light, that I'm just explaining you, telling you that how will it be labeled. The copper will be on the anode side, that is the positive electrode side, and steel will be on the cathode side, which is the negative electrode side. Alright, these two rods will be dipped, and over here we can have any solution like aqueous copper ion solution, electrolyte. Alright, mainly because we need to electroplate copper over the steel rod. Okay, so this is how it's gonna happen. Make sure they're both of equal sizes and you make sure of all this. I made a very rough type of a drawing because I believe you all understand it, and since I've already put a lot of time in my previous drawing. So moving on to part E, 11.09 gram of an oxide of copper contains 9.86 gram of copper. Reduce the empirical formula of this oxide. So if we can understand it in such a way that oxygen and copper are together, copper plus oxide, Cu, and oxygen. Okay, so there's one more way to do it. You can either have 9.86 gram of copper over 64 and find the copper part of it, like how much copper is used. And for oxygen, of course, we will subtract 9.86. Let's do this. Okay, so 11.09 minus 9.86. Alright, so if we subtract it, we'll have, I guess, around 1.23. Okay, since it's 2 marks, so I'll suggest you all to do the whole solution. So there is 1.23 of oxygen mass. Alright, oxygen mass is not given to us, so you'll find it, while the copper mass is already given to us, the mass that is in the sample. Okay, the sample mass. And then copper, AR of copper is 64. that is the atomic mass of it, while oxygen is 16. 16, why am I doing this? Okay, so it's 16. If we calculate it all, and then we'll end up on a ratio that is 2:1. Alright, so we are going to calculate this, and you'll further calculate the answers, and whatever the answers would be, you will divide the shortest answer with the other one, and once you do this, we can easily understand. So let's now calculate it. 9.86 upon 64 is equals to, let me calculate. So this is 0.154. 0.15. Let's keep it this much. And then if we look at 1.23 divided by 16, so it's 0.0768. 0.076 and 8. Now we'll look the smaller value. Smaller value is 0.0768. So we're going to divide both of them. So this is 0.0768 divided by 0.15. Let me erase this so that you don't have difficulty in understanding. This is basically the division sign. We're going to put 0.0768 here and 0.0768 over here too. Let's just do it in detail. So that there's no confusion. Like 0.076 and 8. Now if we divide 0.15 with 0.0768, so it's 0.015 divided by 0.0768. It will give us 1.9 answer, which can be rounded off to 2. Alright, well this is 1 is equals to 1 because 0.0768 divided by 0.0768 will be cancelled out. 1.9, since it's 1.9, we can easily round it off to 2, and hence we get to know that it is 2 copper and 1 oxygen. So Cu 2 and O. Okay. Also, if it had it been 1.5 or 1.6 or 1.4, something like that, values that are in the middle, so we would multiply it by 2. For empirical formula, you can check out videos. Alright, and if you want further help, you can always put your comment in the description below, and I'll solve them for you. Okay. So this was our one question which is completed. The last question is left, and we'll do it right now, of course. Moving on to question number 10. A student prepared some crystals of hydrated copper 2 sulfate by reacting excess insoluble copper 2 oxide with dilute sulfuric acid. Describe how you would obtain pure dry crystals of hydrated copper 2 sulfate from the reaction mixture. Okay, so this is a very common question. This is very much based on analysis. This is an analytical kind of a question. So for this is basically a process of crystallization. First of all, we are going to filter off all the extra copper oxide which is left, excess insoluble copper oxide. Alright, if we'll remove it, so we have dilute sulfuric acid and the product mixture left together, that is this will be out. Okay, after we filter out, this is going to be in the beaker, while this is going to be the filtrate. Copper 2 sulfate, copper oxide will be the filtrate. Okay, because there is some insoluble left. Why is there left? Because sulfuric acid, we can say in this case, is the, you can say, limiting reagent. Alright, it's a limiting reagent which completely reacts and it's over. However, copper oxide, it's left behind. So which copper oxide is, that will be left as the one will be the residue and one will be the filtrate. Alright. Now moving on, which our solution which we have got after filtering the liquid part. Alright, that which is basically the filtrate, we're gonna evaporate it, and then it will be, we need to evaporate it to such a point when we have crystals left in it. That means it's crystallized. Once it's crystallized, we are going to separate out the crystals from it. We are going to warm it so that all the crystals are left. If we evaporate all the excess liquid of it and we heat it, so crystals will be formed, and those crystals are solid now, so we can wash them with you can say with water, or especially distilled water. You can mention distilled, and then after it you can dry it between paper towels. Alright, I hope it's understood. And now moving on to part B, the student used 15 centimeter cube of 2 mole per decimeter cube sulfuric acid to prepare the crystals. Calculate the maximum mass of hydrated copper 2 sulfate crystals that could be made. Okay, so it's gonna be, since we have 15 centimeter cube, we're going to do 15 upon 1000. Okay, 15 upon 1000 into 2 mole per decimeter cube. The formula is very obvious. We are doing concentration multiplied by the volume, so that we can get the number of moles. So the number of moles is 0.03. Okay, and then after it, the molar mass of hydrated copper 2 sulfate is basically, if you look in this question above as well, this is like the whole equation of the reaction that is taking place over here. And then if we see at the molar mass of this, you can either refer the periodic table if you don't remember the molecular masses and the molar masses and all. So if we calculated copper sulfate, that is this CuSO4, alright, and all this whole thing, it's going to be 250. And after the mass of hydrated copper sulfate, we can take it out with the number of moles and we can multiply them, and we'll get the answer, that is 7.5 grams. Okay, I hope it's clear to you all. Again, if you want me to repeat, I can repeat it in case it's mind-boggling, because I understand it is. If we find the molecular mass, the molar mass of copper 2 sulfate, of hydrated copper 2 sulfate, which is, I just showed you this. Alright, if you're going to calculate copper plus sulfate plus 4 oxygens plus 5 times water, which is 18, 5 times 18, we're going to find the answer 250. 250 will be multiplied by 0.03. This and this will be multiplied, 0.03 multiplied by 250. Okay, and the answer is gonna be 7.5. Since the unit is already given here, so we do not need to mention the unit, but the unit of mass is always grams usually, unless there is any exception in the question. Moving on to part C, aqueous ammonia is added to aqueous copper 2 sulfate until the ammonia is in excess. What is observed as the aqueous ammonia is added? As aqueous ammonia is added, so blue precipitates will be formed and the solution will be dark blue if we add it in excess. Make sure you mention the word excess when you are mentioning dark blue, alright? Because if it's not in excess, so we'll only see precipitate, that is light blue precipitate, and if we add it in excess, since the question says excess, so we'll also notice dark blue solution. Okay, now moving on to part D, an aqueous solution of copper 2 sulfate is electrolyzed using inert electrodes. Predict the products of this electrolysis at the anode and at the cathode. We have copper 2 sulfate, which is in aqueous form, that means it has water in it too. Alright, that means copper is going to be at the cathode, that is the negative electrode, and at the anode we will have oxygen, because there is water in it too, and water is like, if we talk about the inert electrode, so we have carbon as the inert electrode over here. Hence we can say that at the anode we will have oxygen and at the cathode we will have copper. This is it for the video. This is it for the paper. In fact, October-November 2016 ends over here. I hope you all found it fruitful. If you have any confusion, make sure to mention it in the comment section down below. And this is it. Thank you so much for watching. Best of luck for your exams.